Hello and welcome to another edition of The Average Guys, coming at you from beautiful Wade Stadium, and I'm your host Johnny D, and with me as always my co-host Kenny K.
Johnny?
Kenny, how you doing, brother?
Good.
And here with us is the Lincoln Lightning manager, Lester Lancaster.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for being on The Average Guys.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
So Les, in Ryan Sandberg's book, Second to Home, he refers to you in the whole book as Lester and the parts that he talks about you. For the Lincoln fans, or for the Northern League fans, Duluth-Superior area, just give us a nutshell summary so far of the Lincoln year and what the strengths are and what the weaknesses are.
Well, definitely, probably the strength is the ballpark, the facilities and everything that we have. I mean, they spent $34 million, state-of-the-art, underground heating where they could grow grass during the winter, melt the snow and all this stuff. So, I mean, the fan support, up the smallest crowd's probably been around 4,200 this year so far. Even on Sundays, we get great crowds. Management and everything has put a lot of money into it, and, the facilities are going to definitely bring the people in next year. And the ball club right now is playing good. We still have a chance to get into the playoffs.
$34 million, a heated field where it melts the snow and can grow grass throughout the winter.
Yep, sure can. It's the stuff they use over there in Europe in the soccer fields and everything to keep the grass green and drain the water and everything. So they spent no cost.
Wow, incredible, incredible. We've talked about needing a new stadium in this town. Exactly, one of our rallying cries throughout the whole show, and the Dukes need a new stadium. Kenny has some questions for you there, Lester.
Les, last year you were with a different team, the Lumberjacks, Adirondack Lumberjacks, came in here for the championship series, and you pitched game 2 of that series.
Right.
And you won that game. What can you remember about that series prior to coming here, playing Duluth-Superior? Obviously, you knew about their record, their power, and that type of thing. And how did you prepare for it? And what are some of the things you remember about last year's championship series?
Well, one thing was being at the All-Star game, watching. That's my first chance I got to see this side of the league and everything, and seeing the hitters and everything. And then once we got to it, I compared our pitching to their hitting, and any day pitching is going to be hitting. And I think we didn't have a whole lot of superstars on our team, but you couldn't just pinpoint one person out and shut us down offensively the same way as pitching. Chad Ward started game 1 with us, lefty, good control, good breaking ball. He just kept the hitters off balance. And then, a certain individual made a comment that glad that's over with, that now we should be able to take care of business. I don't know if they realized that I was pitching or not the next day. After a complete game, 6-0 shutout. And that same individual made another comment saying, well, the first 2 games are over, we don't have to worry about it now. And, they went to our place, we was able to sweep them.
Well, you've been in professional baseball now for how long?
This will be on 16th year.
16th year. Of course, you were in the major leagues, Chicago Cubs being one of those teams. But that victory last season, the championship, certainly had to be a highlight of your career.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, the facilities and everything that we played at was very, what they call low market. We didn't have a whole lot of fan support, and, we didn't have the big bucks like on this side does. And bringing a team from that side into here to face these monster hitters that they had last year, I mean, that was one of my most memorable seasons, especially being able to put that ring on the finger.
Well, congratulations on last season. It would have been nice if our team could have won. But, hey, we had a good team. We had a good season, and we just ran into a hot pitching staff. This season you're with the Lincoln Salt Dogs. Last year they were at Madison. This is your first season, first time on this side of the Northern League?
Yeah, it is. The stadiums in here are beautiful. It's a different caliber of baseball, believe it or not, from this side to the other side. Over here you got more offense. The other side you got more pitching.
Okay. Johnny, I'll let you take over some questions.
Okay, Les, I know you're busy, but that game last year that you pitched 6-6 shutout against the Dukes, was that basically sliders?
Oh, it was some. I throw a lot of sliders, cutters, and fastballs. Some people can't tell when I throw the fastball cutter because it just barely moves, but, I work the ball in and out. And plus, having all the experience, especially against big power hitters, they want to get them hands extended, so you just try to tie them up inside.
Well, and that's what, you take a power hitting team like last year's Dukes team. They see a lot of fastballs. Some of the kids are younger, but with all due respect, a crafty veteran like you that's been around, you just threw a lot of off-speed stuff and just kept them off their game the whole night is how I perceive the game.
Yeah, definitely. With somebody like a team like that, you definitely got to get ahead in the count. And our whole staff worked ahead in the count, and we was able to throw those pitches off the plate, and they would have to try to protect themselves and swing and misses or little ground balls or fly balls, and it worked to our favor.
Well, no, I referred to you at the beginning as Lester in Ryan Sandberg's book. I can tell the viewers out there the first time I seen you pitch was at Mile High Stadium playing for the Iowa Cubs against the Denver Zephyrs. So I did see you in your minor league days, and back in '89, you're on the Cubs. Don Zimmer was the coach. What was, when you talk about great experiences, being in that pennant race and getting into the playoffs against the Giants, I mean, just the end of the season, clinching the division at that point must have been one of the greatest experiences being a Chicago Cub.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, one thing, the Chicago fans are unbelievable. No matter where the Cub people goes and play, I mean, we always have fans, and to be able to put a competitive team out there and to win the half, I mean, Chicago deserves it. They've gone crazy. They've been through a lot of hard times and everything. Personally, that's probably my best career season I had. Led the major league relievers in ERA. Started the season out throwing 30 2/3 scoreless innings. And anything Zimmer asked of me or anybody else, we was able to do it.
I mean, I've read Bill Lee's book right now for probably the fourth time. Bill Lee's thoughts on Don Zimmer was he couldn't handle a pitching staff. Now, this is Bill Lee. A true baseball fan knows a little bit about Bill Lee. How was Don with handling that '89 Cubs staff?
Oh, he was fine. There's only really was one major injury. That was to Paul Killigus during the year. But Zimmer knows a lot about baseball, and the thing I think probably people don't understand is he don't lie to you. He tells you everything up front, and you have to respect that. I mean, if a manager can be honest with you, what more can it's up to you to perform.
Well, let's just go around that Cubs team of '89, play some nostalgia for Silverfish. Get better there, buddy. Let's go at first base. Mark Grace, what kind of character was he like in the clubhouse besides what we know of him on the field? I hear him on the Jim Rome show. He sounds like quite the character.
Yeah, he really is. He's a one-of-a-kind. I mean, great defensive, and, he'll hit about 17 to 20 home runs every year and usually hit 300. And
then there again, Ryan Sandberg's book. What can you say about Rhino?
Rhino's a prankster. A lot of people don't realize he's very quiet at it. I remember one spring training he set Dave Martinez's pants on fire by accident doing a prank on him with the alcohol and fire trick. But Rhino gives you solid defense at second base, and he's going to hit 20, 25 home runs.
Okay, and then you had Jerome Walton and you had Dwight Smith. They were on the '89 team, I believe, as rookies.
Yeah, I mean, you had two young phenoms coming up. They hit 300 each. Great defense in the outfield. Jerome had a lot of speed, and he used that, bumper base hits to his favor, stealing bases, and he had, it sounded like a 20-something game hitting streak at one time. I mean, he was, the upcoming star. Same with Dwight. Dwight had a little bit more power, a stronger arm, and one thing about Dwight, he could carry a note when he sung.
Well, okay, now just, I know you got to get going here, but Barry Bonds today hit 2 homers. He's up to 53. Has the game changed that much? Has the strike zone been, I know they expanded it, but it just seems like back in even '89, to get 50 home runs really wasn't even thought about a lot. Now today's players keep seeming to do it and do it and do it. Is there anything that's different about today's game as even opposed to 10, 15 years ago?
I think 3 major things are different. One, a lot of the new ballparks are smaller now. They're geared towards more offensive because that's what everybody likes to see. 2, the guys are a lot stronger now. I mean, they work out hard and everything. And 3, I think a lot of teams are rushing pitchers up there. I mean, you see a lot of things, pitchers pitch right down the middle. I mean, they should be hit. And, they're not giving them time to develop. They're trying to save money. And, I think the pitching has gone down and the hitting has stepped up.
Well, tell you what, we should let you go. We know you have a job to do. Lester Lancaster, thank you for coming on the average.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and good luck the rest of the second half. And this is Les Lancaster. If you don't get out to the Wade, get out here because these are the people you can meet. And thanks about the stadium part. That's a big rallying cry for us.
No problem.
Okay, thanks again.
Y'all need to come down there and see it.
We're back, and now with us is pitcher Dan Gainey of the Duluth-Superior Dukes, our lone representative of the All-Star team. Thanks for coming on the average, guys, Dan.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
All right, and Kenny, I know you have some questions you wanted to ask him.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Dan about his All-Star experience up in Winnipeg. If you wanted to talk about that, first of all, your selection, and once you got up there, and what you thought of the stadium and the surroundings up there, and how everything went for you.
Everything went really good. I'm really familiar with the surroundings. I played 5 seasons for them up there, and to go back to my old home stomping grounds to represent the Dukes as an All-Star, it was a real privilege and an honor to go back up there and represent the Dukes.
So you're a Winnipeg native.
Yeah, I'm the career leader in the organization, games pitched in and everything, so I'm real familiar with the fans and just the whole organization as a whole. And I felt like I was back at home when I was up there at the All-Star game.
Well, let me ask you this then. Corey Koski, were you familiar with Corey prior to his Major League experience?
Actually, not prior to his Major League experience, because I'm originally from St. Louis. In '99, Corey Koski and I, we did a off-season baseball clinic together. So I kind of know Corey a little bit, and I did not know him prior to the big leagues. I've always known him as a big leaguer, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a game here recently at the Metrodome where he had about, they said the entire town of Enola, Manitoba was down there, and they showed him up in the stands. Dan, this season, a little different than last season. Why don't you talk a little bit about where this team's at and maybe what we need to do to get this thing going?
Well, I was only here for, I believe, 12 regular season games last year, and I was here for the playoff run, and that was a great ride. And there, believe it or not, in that short time I was here, there was some ups and downs with a little 8-game skid towards the end of the season, and we actually slid in the playoffs. You know, everyone thought we were going to, go in and stomp everybody, and ran into a little skid, and we had to play that 1-game playoff. So there was some ups and downs in that short time I was here last year. As far as this year with the Dukes, I'm really surprised what's going on right now. I really thought that we'd be playing better baseball than we are right now. We should be, but we're not. And what was it going to take for us to get out of this? I think everybody just try to stay focused and stay positive. Otherwise, if we all sink, it's just going to be like we're in quicksand. And there's got to be some way to get out of this. And the only way to do that is to keep a positive attitude and don't do any finger pointing. Just go out and play ball.
Well, Dan Gainey, last year, Les Lancaster pitched the second game of the championship series. We just talked to Les. What do you recall from that championship series and the performance of that other team? Again, we came in here with the power that we had. We did take care of Fargo-Moorhead, and the championship series seemed like it maybe was ours. We had the first 2 games here. It just didn't happen. What do you remember from last year's championship series and maybe some things that went wrong even?
Well, last year we had a pretty good hitting ball club, and they came in here against us, and I'd be honest with you, I don't think we showed them too much respect. In '99, I was with the Gold Eyes, and we lost to Albany. We didn't show those guys too much respect. We thought we were the best club in the league, and but on the other hand, a lot of times the best club doesn't always win the 5-game series. The pitching won it for Adirondack last year against us. Les pitched well. The left-hander, I forgot his name on the other, with Adirondack. He pitched a good game. I think he pitched game 1 or game 2. Chad Ward, that's right. He pitched a really good game. And a guy by the name of Eric Anderson, which I played with a couple seasons in Winnipeg, pitched game 3 up there. And it was just they were being very aggressive early in the count, throwing a lot of strikes. And the pitching won the series for them. As far as their hitters last year, Adirondack, I wasn't too impressed with that. But pitching and defense, as they say, wins championships, and that's what they did last year against us.
Yeah, they proved it, unfortunately, but it was a great season for the Dukes, and you were our Central Division champions, defending Central Division champions. Johnny, any thoughts or questions for Dan Gainey?
Yeah. Okay, the Prozac edition, the antidepressant. You're a St. Louis native.
Yes.
Cardinals fan.
Cardinals fan when I was young. Not a Cardinals fan now. I'm a baseball fan. I don't have a favorite team. I just love watching the game and watching the big leaguers play, and just I'm a student of the game, and I just don't have a favorite team anymore. And it's like watching the guys go out. I turn on Sports Center, and sometimes I'll watch the same highlights 3 or 4 times over again. I just love baseball and always have.
Well, okay, but no, what I'm doing is taking you further back in time, and I can understand what you're saying, because as a KC fan, Brett retired, and then it's like, well, but who were your inspirations as a youngster that you enjoyed watching play, and that even people that you didn't get to see because they're in their past that you tried to emulate and take after?
I would say Keith Hernandez.
Okay.
Keith Hernandez, and that's why I actually wear number 17 on my back now. I remember in the early 80s when he was traded to the Mets for Neil Allen, he changed his number to number 17 with the New York Mets, and that's why I wear number 17 right now. Prior to that, I was number 37 when I was playing Little League, and then once he got traded, I changed over from that. And I would say Willie McGee. He was a center fielder with the Cardinals, and I was fortunate enough as an 11-year-old to be at a Game 7 of the World Series and watch the Cardinals defeat the Milwaukee Brewers. And I was actually at all the playoff games that year against Atlanta, and also in all the World Series games. And the ironic thing is that Whitey Herzog was a manager, and Hal Lanier, which was my coach in Winnipeg for 5 seasons,
Was the third base coach.
was actually in '82 he was the first base coach. In '85 he was the third base coach.
Okay.
And like I said, it was ironically enough that I got to play for Hal for 5 seasons, and then this year up in the All-Star game, Whitey Herzog was up there. And so for me to actually be on the field with Hal and with Whitey Herzog, just remember when I was a young boy watching the great teams of the early and mid 80s with the Cardinals, to be on the field, with those two guys, it was pretty neat. I had a lot of pictures taken up there with those guys, and I was actually giving them both a lot of trouble, saying, hey, I was 11 years old when you guys won the World Series, and now I'm 29 and almost 30, so what's that mean for you guys?
Well, let's talk about Whitey Herzog for a second. What was he doing up there? Is he a consultant with the California Angels still? I think that's...
Whitey, from what I know, he said he's retired and he just goes fishing and golfing.
Okay, so he's out of the game altogether. You ever read his book, White Rat?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually did a book report on it in like 7th or 8th grade or something like that. Yeah.
Good book. So he's just retired and out of the game now.
Retired out of the game, and he was up there as like our team captain for the Central, and he gave a speech for all the Northern League players and whoever else was at the banquet, and he said a lot of positive, encouraging things about the league and about a lot of the players in the league.
Well, Hal Lanier, and one thing that we try to talk about on the average guys in the Northern League and so forth and whatnot is you come here and parents bring your kids out. You got Hal Lanier, go to your local baseball card shop, go into the old bins, find the Hal Lanier cards, get them autographed. Hal had a great career with the Giants. What kind of manager was he up in Winnipeg?
He was a real demanding manager. You either were doing the job or you're gone. That's the bottom line. You performed. I've seen him bring up guys there for 3 and 4 days, and 3 or 4 appearances as a pitcher, and if you don't do the job, you're gone. It is they run a cutthroat organization up there. I struggled last year with them, and I was shipped over here at the trading deadline because I just flat out wasn't doing the job, and that's why they found somebody they thought that could do better than me at that time. And he just really demands fundamental baseball, and if you can't do it for him, you're not going to be there. And that's just the way it is.
Fair enough. Before we wrap this up, Kenny, any final questions?
Dan, congratulations on your selection to the All-Star, Northern League All-Star team, representing Duluth-Superior Dukes. I'm sure it was a thrill for you, and hopefully we can get this thing on track and get a couple of games here and maybe sneak into the playoffs, because we don't have to win this thing, we just have to take second place. So I know that we've got a ways to go, but hopefully we can get something accomplished.
Well, I hope we can. You got to take it one day at a time, as the old saying goes. But if we can get focused again somehow, hopefully we can make a run at it. I said in the paper yesterday, yesterday we were 5.5 out with 18 to go. I think we're 6.5 now with 17 to go. And if we were 6.5 out with 7 to go, then I'd pretty much say it would almost be impossible. But until you're mathematically out of it, nothing's impossible in baseball.
There you go.
Dan Gainey, thank you for your time. Good luck tonight. All right.
There we go.
Okay, Johnny.
Kenny, they're getting ready to get things going here. But that was some great insight. And, hey, how you doing?
Maybe we can get Greg Morrison here. I talked to True Blood. I thought Dan Gainey was from Winnipeg.
I know yet. Idiot.
Well, he said, he's from that area.
Native of Manitoba? No. I was like, hey, Greg. Can we get a minute?
Yeah, we're going to get Greg Morrison on the program. Let me just move off to the side here. Good. Greg Morrison of the Duluth-Superior Dukes. Welcome to the Average Guys.
Oh, I knew I recognized you guys. How you doing?
Good. Greg, You're Canadian, from the province of Alberta. And talk to us about your thoughts on this team and this area of Duluth-Superior, and a little bit about your time here so far.
This is my first full season here. I came here through the half last year. It's a beautiful city. Team's a little different than last year. We're really struggling right now, and it's going to be tough for us to pull out a chance to get into the playoffs. But other than that, I really like Minnesota. It reminds me a lot of home. Population, it's a little even bigger than Medicine Hat, where I'm from. But it's real beautiful here.
What about this Lindros deal? He said he wouldn't go to Edmonton. Bobby Clark wouldn't let him go to Toronto. Now he might go to the Rangers. What are your thoughts on that deal?
Yeah, I think I saw something up there. It was for 4 guys. I'm not even sure that they were fairly big names or not, but I know he's got to get out of Philly. That's about all I know. I haven't been following him too much last year, so all I know is him and Clark don't get along too well, so I don't know.
Well, besides baseball, let's talk a little hockey. Who are some of your favorite hockey teams, or a favorite hockey team growing up in Canada? Maybe some favorite players besides Wayne Gretzky.
I liked Lemieux growing up. I was a defenseman, so I like guys like Bork too, and
Lanny McDonald.
Lanny McDonald. He played for the Medicine Hat Tigers when I think I might have been around there still. So yeah, but the Flames is the closest town to Medicine Hat, so I always like the Flames. Theron Fleury, played him, watched him in the WHL. So all the guys that I kind of are from Alberta or played in the WHL, I like those kind of guys, and I still like catching a game now and again.
Have you been down to the XL? Have you caught a wild game or anything?
Where, around here?
Yeah, in St. Paul.
No. What do they got? IHL here?
NHL. We're in the NHL now.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota Wild.
Okay, yeah. No, I haven't been down there. Okay. No. I know there's some isn't there some minor league hockey teams around here too, or no?
There used to be.
Well, you just got the WCHA, the Bulldogs, UNB Bulldogs. Minnesota. There was an IHL team a few years ago, the Minnesota Moose. Nope. Now the Manitoba Moose.
That's what it was. They went to Winnipeg, I believe. That's what I was.
And then we got our NHL franchise. Last year was the first year, and this year we're going to. We're in that tough division with Vancouver and Calgary and Edmonton and Colorado. Ew.
So, who are your influences growing up as far as baseball players? I mean, I think Dave McKay was a Canadian back in, the 70s. But you had Terry Puhl, who was from Melville, Saskatchewan.
Yep. Terry Puhl. My dad played against him when they used to play in some semi-pro Saskatchewan leagues. Joe Ferguson came up and played in that league. I liked Wade Boggs growing up. I was a Boston fan. And he was a left-hand hitter that tried to hit the ball the other way, and I was glad that, I kind of followed him growing up because it's a real good approach, and at a really early age I learned to start hitting the ball the other way, and it helps a lot when you're trying to hit for average to do that. So Wade Boggs was my favorite guy.
So you remember the '86 series?
No, I was pretty young back then, but
I knew I was going down that slippery slope, but I had to ask.
Yeah.
Because Buckner broke my heart, but
Oh yeah.
So,
yes. I know what you're talking about.
So your father played semi-pro ball against Terry Puhl, and
yeah. The Unity Cardinals. I was born in Unity, Saskatchewan, and it was a kind of a league like this. It was independent teams, and they just get guys from all over the place. So
what part of Alberta are you from?
Medicine Hat.
Medicine Hat, right? But are you a pro wrestling fan?
No.
Not even a Bret the Hitman Hart fan?
Well, yeah, I didn't mind him. I know he's Canadian. I know that much.
But,
yeah.
In wrestling, I like to think, Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But.
Yeah, he actually bought a WHL team in Calgary, the Calgary Hitmen, they're called.
Right.
So I know he looks after those guys pretty good. So.
Oh, really? He's a good owner, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Anyways, we're just minutes from game time here, so we better evacuate. Right, Greg Morrison. All right. Thanks for coming on The Average, guys. Remember, it's cool to be average. All right.
Greg Morrison.
Jim's little brother.
Well,
maybe he can light a fire.
Ooh, Johnny. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just never know. Maybe he'll just head on the crystal ship and, or hopefully it isn't. This is the end,
You are on a roll.
Hey, put me on bread. Anyway, let's see. We're just minutes from game time here, Kenny.
We sure are.
So, I think these are 3 fun interviews here, and I don't know. We'll go set up somewhere, and we'll be back in just a little bit here. So
the crowds are starting to come, John. We're really starting to fill up now. That's a good sight to see. Not a better place to be on a
It's a beautiful night.
Yeah, on a summer night, other than Wade Stadium, it sure beats sitting in your living room watching television, cable television.
And parents, I'll give you 3 seconds to cover your children's ears. 1, 2, 3. But damn it. I mean, Les Lancaster started off that whole interview. What's the strength and what's the weaknesses? A stadium. I mean, sure, people have to come out, but I would swear if we had a new stadium, people would come out just to see it. And once they get out here, they have such a darn good time, they'd keep coming.
George Stavrono said it best. He said, you can't put a price tag on the excitement generated by a new stadium. And I think it's safe to say that if we were to get a new stadium here in Duluth-Superior, the crowds would come out. We'd come out to be a part of our stadium in a new stadium. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Howie Hansen, we'll talk about it a little later, wrote an article in the paper about this other league and
the Northwoods League.
What type of changes might be in the future for this franchise. Who knows? But what can we do with this stadium? Can we renovate this stadium? I've often said take the netting down above the ceiling here where the pigeons fly, put up some plywood, paint it blue with puffy white clouds, and every day is a sunny, bright day underneath the grandstand at Wade Stadium. But
I just think what Les said was poetic. He flat out said our stadium.
Well, it was unbelievable what he was describing down there. It's just it's nice that there are communities that are getting behind their minor league. And
he even said, though, their lowest attendance is around 4,200 a game. We had 682 here last night.
Well, again, we've got some things here that are unique that other towns and teams don't have to deal with. I would hope we could work around those things. I think weather's one of them, but we've got a big challenge ahead of us. And let's face it, the team hasn't been performing well. And I think the people come out to see a good performance, and unfortunately we haven't had that recently.
Well, but like I say, it's just
there's the doctor.
There's the doctor. The doc is in the house. So anyway, I tell you what, let's wrap this up because they're already taking the field. And I hope you enjoyed those 3 interviews. We're going to go set up shop somewhere else, and we'll be right back in just 1 minute.
Well, we're at the concession stand inside, what is this, the first base side, and who do we have working the concessions?
I'm Serena Keinbaum.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Serena Keinbaum. Don Turner.
Rob Martinson.
So, who's kind of like the head here? Who's the top guy? The captain? Rob, okay. Well, you're kind of outnumbered, Rob. How do you get that title?
How am I outnumbered? They like me.
It's 2 against 1 right now. A little slow right now, but you guys, you do have times where you really get busy here, and there's not a lot of time to mess around or kick back. And some of the fun times this year, what have been some of the highlights behind the concession stand?
Just some wrong ordering, and it's kind of embarrassing, and just, I don't know. I don't know, really.
You get a lot of interesting people ordering a lot of stuff that's kind of funny.
But you're having a lot of fun? You get to come to a Dukes game every night for free.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have fun. Thanks for being on The Average Guys. Now here's your opportunity to say the Average Guys rule.
The Average Guys rule.
And we're back. So anyway, as Kenny's getting up the ramp here and to take a seat, there's a lot to talk about. Kenny, welcome back, brother.
How the heck are you?
I can't complain. You got your supper there, ready to go.
Oh, man.
But Kenny, we had 3 great interviews there. And I think, I don't know, you can only reiterate it so much. If you haven't been out here, we got how many games left? Is it 7 or 8 games left? It's a good time. Just coming, the weather's beautiful. There's no excuse not to come to 1 game.
There's no excuse not to come to 1 game. There you go. If you haven't been to a game this year, make 1.
That's all we ask.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's been a slow year for me. I've been out here, I think, 7 times. And
we'll get Duke's general manager, David Sacchetti. We invited him on the program. We'll get him down here to talk about some of the upcoming promotions and the things that the Dukes have planned for the fans. Tonight being Thursday, August 16th, this is the final of the 3 games with Lincoln, and then we pick up tomorrow night for 3 games with Schaumburg. Ron Kittle and Matt Noakes come to town. We'll talk to David. I won't delve too much into it, but he talked to Matt Noakes. Matt talked about his playing days with the Yankees. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to sit and talk with Matt Noakes, especially about those Yankee teams.
Well, Dave was hoping we could get out here Wednesday, or rather Friday, and talk to Matt Noakes, but not able to do that.
No, the average guys have a life. So anyway, Kenny.
There's some of our bigger fans over there, John Wave.
Go do your thing.
But Kenny, let's talk about the Twins.
We'll talk about it.
Is the inevitable happening?
See if I can figure this thing out.
Well, I think you got to look at a couple of things.
I think the Matt Lawton trade was.
No, maybe there's some truth to that. But you got to look at the injuries, John. This team really went into the tank when Christian Guzman went on the injured list.
Absolutely.
How important is he to this team? Very important. Brad Radke, not pitching extremely effective, but when you have your veteran pitcher, your
anything can happen.
Exactly. Let's mention that the Dukes have a lead in this game right now, 4-0. There's 2 outs with runners at third and first. Hopefully they can add to this lead. Hey, if any team deserves to run up the score,
it's your very own Duluth-Superior Dukes.
Exactly. So you've got
you got the injuries.
You got the injuries. David Ortiz, who's back and healthy, but it takes a while to get back into the groove of things.
But he's hitting a few homers. I mean, I didn't give up. I just said show it. I didn't have much faith in him because he's not tested. But I was listening to, was it Jason Stark on ESPN? They're talking about the Twins. And they said they tried to make a deal for Dimitri Young, which we talked about, and a few other power-hitting outfielders, and I can't remember who they were. And the Twins, just in the end, they thought they were going to get it done, and they couldn't.
Well, let me mention this now, and those people that got the Hall of Fame edition of the Baseball Weekly, that's the name of the newspaper, Baseball Weekly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
USA Today.
And they talked about the top 10, top 20 free agents, and they mentioned Juan Gonzalez and said, look out for Minnesota making a strong bid to get him at the end of the season. I'm like, holy cow. And the Twins making their largest free agent acquisition in history. Holy cow.
But didn't they say if Cleveland wants to stay at the top, they have to sign him?
Right.
But also look for the Minnesota Twins
to make a strong effort to get him.
Yep, so...
Johnny losing those 4 consecutive games at Tampa Bay hurt this team.
Oh, immensely.
And I'll tell you what, when Dick Bremer kept on talking, there we go. Dukes get a run. Is that Theo Harris? I think so. Dukes get a run. Now we're up 5-0. Let's keep it going, baby.
So those 4 games, Kenny, they look so
They
flat.
were saying, well, they're playing the worst team in Major League Baseball and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, this team hasn't done well against Tampa Bay in the past couple of years. And I thought, geez, I wish he wouldn't be saying that. And wouldn't you know, the worst thing that could possibly happen did.
A 4-game sweep.
Unbelievable. The worst team in baseball.
I caught 3 of the 4 games, off and on, not from first inning to the 9th. But I caught enough of it, and there was really not one point where I thought the Twins got something going. I mean, they were so flat, and that kid's going to get a second foul ball if that other kid doesn't catch up in a hurry.
There you go. All right.
He's got it. He's honing down.
Chad Allen. Did you see this injury Chad Allen suffered?
Check by the table. Look at that. The wrong table. But, Chad Allen hurting his leg.
Did you see it?
Yep, absolutely.
That's hard, to watch somebody suffer like that without being able to help them.
Well,
it's horrible to watch that.
They thought he tripped on the seam between the warning track and the grass, but his knee just gave up before it. But no,
out for the season.
they got John Barnes coming up, as Kenny told me.
In Barnes we trust. What did I say? This kid Barnes is going to come up. He's going to set the league on fire.
I hope you're right, brother. But no, that 4-game sweep by Tampa Bay just set the wheels in motion. And hey, if they can take tonight's game against Cleveland, it puts them 2.5 back. Cleveland still has to face Seattle, Oakland, and Boston. Minnesota doesn't. But that's where you got to beat your Tampa Bays.
I really wish we had Marty Cordova in right field.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how I feel about Marty.
Well,
He dissed us fans one time, and he's a jerkaholic. But in retrospect, Kenny, I must agree with you. Who would have known the Twins were going to be in this position, though, when the season started? Never saw it coming. All I can do is say, I just hope they don't get to a point where all of a sudden, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I seen another average guy fan walking by us here.
there he goes.
Well, you know, it's just, I hate to see, okay, what I was going to say is I hate to see the Twins get overtaken by the White Sox. That would hurt.
You know, I've been looking at those standings, and we still have to play the White Sox here.
A few more times.
Dukes are out in the bottom of the second inning, get another run, currently lead 5-0. What would you think of the Les Lancaster interview, huh?
Oh, yeah. Couldn't think of a pitcher on that staff. And then Kenny's like Greg Maddux, and it's like, oh, damn. Because, you know, you had Rick Sutcliffe on that staff. You had Frank Castillo. Geez, you know. That's what you call doing an interview. No preparation time. And just flying.
You don't need preparation for baseball talk.
Well, sometimes it's handy. I want to ask about Don Zimmer. I'm reading Bill Lee's book. And The Wrong Stuff, I believe it's called. And,
The Wrong Stuff.
And I mean, it's one heck of a book. I wouldn't recommend it for kids. But yeah, he did not like Don Zimmer. The Royal Order of Buffalo's Jim Willoughby, Rick Wise, Bernie Carbo, Bill Lee, and I'm missing one other player. They were all gone, but, you know, he said Zimmer couldn't handle his staff. And I just wanted to ask Les, did Don know how to handle his staff, you know, and get another person's point of view from what I read. And I thought the Les Lancaster interview, that's what the beauty of the Northern League is. I mean, Winnipeg comes, you got Hell and you're there. You got Schomburg coming, you got Rookie of the Year, Ron Kittle, you got Matt Noakes, the 87 All-Star.
87?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, people come out here, the managers, the coaches, the players, they're accessible.
Right.
You know, you can come out, and if you come out early at 6 o'clock, you can get some good talking with those guys. You can stand behind the fence and say, hey, Matt.
We're going to get David Sacchetti on here, but before we do, John, I real quick want to talk about just a little bit of football.
Yeah.
Kid. This game the Vikings had, tonight the Vikings are playing Pittsburgh at the Metrodome. By the way, our good friend Tom Pogorelic won tickets. He's at the game with his Randy Moss jersey as we speak.
Pogue's wearing a Moss jersey?
He's on the 50-yard line on the field. That's where his tickets are. 50-yard line on the field. Now, consider the source, but that's where he's at.
Really? Okay.
But it was really good to see this team execute against New Orleans down at the Alamo Dome. Considering what they've gone through, this thing with Corey Stringer, the lack of preparation, really. Real quick,
Tampa Bay looked horrendous, but keep going.
Dante Culpepper, I gave an A+. Randy Moss, I gave a C. Had the touchdown, dropped a couple of passes. Michael Bennett, I gave an A. I thought he looked fantastic. He has electric speed. I think this guy's going to be a fantastic
Grease lightning.
watch. And the defense, I gave a C+. I thought the defense played well. Again, with a lack of preparation and the terrible tragedy to Corey Stringer, I thought that team went down there and handled that game real well. I know it's exhibition. Just a day or two ago, the team planted an oak tree outside the campus at Mankato in memory and honor, if you will, of Corey Stringer.
But Kenny, I'll be honest with you. I was talking to our good friend Ned Kroll at Charlie's Bar Friday night while you were making your Centerville All-Star
What
special.
What a good time.
But I was talking to Ned, and I said, you know, Michael Bennett, he ain't going to be no good.
Oh, and Ned said that?
Yeah, and
Oh,
I'm
I'm
like,
ashamed of him.
I said, well, why do you say that? Oh, he can't get around the corner, and he's, you know, like, I go, so what you're saying is he's like an oar boat stuck on sand. He, you know, and I mean, blew me away. I mean, I'm a Buccaneer fan. Ooh, look at that play by Lantigua. Nice. That's what third base. I love third base. That's what it's all about. Nice short one hopper and
nice play.
Yeah, nice play. But yeah, he wasn't impressed with Michael Bennett, and
that's a shock.
Well, I blown away. But then average guys 99 at hotmail.com. Average guys 99 at hotmail.com. Kenny, you and Ned had the same answer. When Robert Smith retired from the Vikings, he was an unrestricted free agent.
Okay.
You said he was still under contract. Ned said he's still under contract.
You found out?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what are we trying to get at?
What I'm trying to get at is Brian Billick wants to talk to him. Rome says he won't, and I don't see him making a comeback. But it's just, to me, it's just like, it's just one of those things. I thought forever Robert Smith was an unrestricted free agent. I could be totally wrong, but
I don't know.
I thought his contract was over.
I do know that the Vikings open the regular season Sunday, September 9th at the Metrodome against the Carolina Panthers, and Todd Stussey's coming back to town. Kind of interesting that he would leave in the first game of the season.
He left on bad terms with the Vikings.
Well, I don't know, bad.
You get like Randy Moss.
Yeah, well.
They knew what they were getting when they drafted him.
There. John, real quick, this Saturday, August 18th at the Metrodome, it's going to be Kirby Mania. They're going to have this little flip book, like the first 15,000. It's a little flip book where you just flip the pages, and it'll show Kirby Puckett hitting the home run in Game 6 of '91. I'd like to be able to get my hands on one of them, but I won't be down there for that. Getting back to the Vikings, though, 3 deep is back. Moss, Carter, and Reed. We've got a special guest here. Okay, he'll join us here shortly. And they were talking to Jake Reed, and Jake said something that just made me feel good. He says, when I stop playing this game, I'm always going to be a Minnesota Viking. Man, that is really something. He had the 1 year last year where he went down to New Orleans and really didn't do anything. He's trying to make a comeback this year, and they asked Dante Culpepper about Jake Reed. He said he's a proven veteran, he's a leader, and when he's open, I'm going to get him the ball. Huh?
Brad Johnson, he plays the first 3 series.
Let's grab a chair over here.
Excuse me.
All right. David? David?
No, nice to meet you.
Hi there, nice to meet you. Don. In New York,
Don.
they call her
Hi.
Dawn.
How are ya?
We say
Good.
Dawn.
Dawn.
Well,
Dawn.
You're on TV, Dawn.
Don, you're on TV. Tell us a little bit about you, and what so far is this your first season with the Dukes?
It's my second season.
Second season. So far, how have things gone this year so far?
Great. I'm having a great time. All of us are having a good time working here.
Dave, it's a big party.
Yeah, I didn't even write that script for Dawn, but she came up with that herself. Yeah, we have a party. We could use a few more people, but we're having a good time.
Yeah. The crowds haven't been what we had hoped, what we had planned, what we would like. A couple of reasons for that. I think that we can attribute it to a few things. We won't get into that. We'll just...
It's Dawn's fault.
Don, what do you got to say about that?
Don.
I'll do what I can.
Check this camera.
Okay, Don. I mean, before a game, how do you psych yourself up and get ready? You gotta make sure you got your game plan in order. What do you go about to make sure you're all set and properly mentally prepared to handle the evening's events?
I usually do a little meditating beforehand so I can deal with the younger crowd that we're working with here. And then I'm able to get them really excited about the game.
And at interviewer, you're wondering, what the hell's he talking about, right? Okay.
Pretty much.
So, what can you tell us about Dave Sacchetti from, what's that? This is I know, but, hey, what does Dave bring me and Kenny are big Sacchetti supporters. What's it like working with Dave here?
He's probably the best the best big boss I've ever worked with. He's really fun, approachable, and he hangs out with all of us, not just the upper people, upper management.
I know, I have
That's-
to always pinch myself.
That's why me and Kenny always say, and Dave, we trust because he knows how to treat his people. They do good, and they do good by Dave. Dave does good by his staff.
I'm talking to somebody who's walked the picket line and went on strike, so I've been on both sides of the fence.
Okay.
Eastern Airlines.
David, let's talk about the game. Whoa. That was too close.
And that kid's getting his third foul ball for the night.
That was about 100 feet away.
Hey, kid, share those balls.
Mr. Washburn here is trying to add to his baseball collection.
Rick Washburn painted all our signs, did a great job. Really happy with it. I think it looks great.
And he's a kid at heart.
Well, he's without a doubt Duluth.
I ran into him at the Blues Festival on Saturday afternoon. It was. It's nice to see Duluth put up a beautiful monument and have a lot of people out there. So.
Well, let's talk about the Bayfront Blues Festival. This would be, what, their 11th, 12th year now, I believe, down there. I made it down Sunday. Quite a different configuration on there. Your first time down there for the Bayfront Blues Festival. What was your experience like?
It was great. I mean, on the water, and when I heard for Credence there was a bunch over 10,000, I really didn't believe it because from Mesaba it looks a little smaller. But when you get out there, it's a great venue. I mean, the acoustics were good, and you can walk along the lake if you want. You can sit in a chair and just sit there and not really get into the music, but or walk around. And there's places to sit. It was great, real good.
David, let's
Rock and roll though, but it was good.
Yeah, there's a time and place for the blues, though.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Duke's upcoming schedule real quick. We've got the 3 games coming up with Schaumburg after this game tonight with Lincoln, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What type of promotions? Can the fans expect Saturday and Sunday?
Friday's Wells Fargo is out here, Wells Fargo night, and then Saturday we're doing. We're going to be giving away 1,000 sports bottles, and that's pretty good. And then we got a nice one that has Dukes on it and the sponsors and everything. So that should be pretty cool. And I think it's 28 ounces, something like that. Okay. So, and then next weekend after that, on Friday, we're going to give away 1,000 cards, packs of trading baseball cards, Dukes cards, to first 1,000 people. And the night after that, we're going to do this thing on Megaphone, and we're going to be running some radio spots. We got a complaint to the DNT about our fans on the first base side, saying that they were loud. What was the word that they used?
Raucous?
Loudish or something. Well, that's that's why you come to a baseball game. So we're giving away 1,000 megaphones because we want everyone to yell at the park, and tonight it's good they can yell. We're winning 5-0, and maybe we'll get a little run going here.
So the Dukes encourage noise at Wade Stadium.
Yes, and there was a letter written to the newspaper, and it said that there was ethnic. I'm really sensitive to ethnic slurs, and I've sat with those fans there, and they never say anything.
Now that was
Morrison, maybe, but not.
That was written by some out-of-towners into the sound-off section in the News Tribune. I read that, and I thought to myself, the games I've attended, I've never heard anybody get that rude. I hope it didn't happen.
Washington bureaucrats, stuffy-shirted people that don't know how to have a good time if their life depended on it.
Okay, well, that could be. That could be.
Also, as well, we're talking about with the staff at the park. Rob Hargraves does a great job. Tom, Eric. We've got a couple of Erics, a couple of Aarons. Well, who am I leaving out, Dawn? And a lot of people. They do a good job. And Dawn helps us manage here and does a great job, too. So it's a fan-friendly park. I can't stress that enough. And it's affordable and it's fun.
And let me remind our viewers, plenty of free parking.
Yes.
No, you've come from other from other ballparks around the country, mainly on the East Coast. Have you ever had there been any other parks you know of that have free parking?
No free park unless it's a public park. Gonna go play softball. No, they always pay. But the one thing I miss about this stadium is I like my office at the stadium because when you get stressed, you can just walk outside and it's relaxing to me anyway.
Johnny?
Okay, now, I don't know, what does Dawn do for the Dukes? What's her...
Well,
Oscar.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I'm the concessions manager.
you're the concessions manager. So how do you get your dogs and brats and Polish ready before a game?
Someone comes in really early, about 3 o'clock, and starts making them.
And you don't make them?
No, I have attendance for that.
So you have your, what would you say, minions working on it? Yeah, pawns, you know.
Really hard-working people.
Queen Dawn.
Yes.
So I got to make sure I get that A in there.
And Rob is the king.
And Rob is the king.
Bob is the king.
So, anyway, it's just a matter of, we can talk about stadiums and that, but it's not even about it's just getting out here and having a darn good time.
Yeah, watch it there, John. Yeah, just come out here and have a good time. It's most people out of here are smiling, except when that losing streak hurt us and our core of fans, But as soon as the game's over, there's always tomorrow, and that's what baseball's about. It's like a soap opera, like that.
I mean, yeah, it's like couples can come here and straighten out their marriage and sort of sit back.
Oh yeah.
Because you said earlier there's a study that says that in minor league ball, a lot of times the people walk out and 50% of them don't.
The Lansing Lugnuts in the Midwestern League did this exit survey, and over half the people, when they leave, they don't know what the score of the game was. In fact, they were interviewing someone, and there was a no-hitter in the 6th inning, and this guy was standing around in a picnic area like ours and said, "Do you know there's a no-hitter?" The interviewer, and he says, "No, we're not even watching the game." So, you could do that. It's just like going to a park.
I think you have a combination of a lot of those things.
How's
A lot of people come.
How's the food?
I've got the.
Dawn's here on quality control tonight.
I've got the Duke chili dog. I'll tell you
Chili
what.
cheese dog.
This is something you cannot eat with your fingers or your hands. It'd be nice if I had a little stronger fork to get through this, but it's
Gotta find a complaint with something.
No. I'm not complaining. Next time I'll bring my own fork.
Well,
It's fantastic. And I'll tell you what. I've been to a lot of Dukes games. I've been to a lot of Major League games. I've been to a lot of UMD games, a lot of games outside of Wade Stadium. And I'll tell you what, the food out here is very affordable, and I just can't get over the fact that you can come out here and park for free. To me, that is a value. It's outstanding value to come out here and park for free and to see a ball game. You don't go to a Bulldog game and park for free, do you?
well, yeah.
I just think it's one of the.
Danny does.
Danny's not answering. Danny, you're in trouble. The way I look at it, though, the concessions, last week we were talking about, I was eating nachos, and it's, the hot dogs, the nachos, everything about it is top notch.
Chicken's good, If you're a real health nut, you don't even have to put it on the bun. Just have a little grilled chicken, some beans, a little potato salad. It's good.
Dave.
Have you spoken to Adam yet? Have you gotten Adam around?
We haven't.
No.
Dave, talking about fans coming to the ballpark and maybe not paying attention to the game or paying attention to the score.
Yeah.
I can relate to that because I think a lot of it has to do with atmosphere and your surroundings.
Sure.
And I don't want to say the game sometimes is second to the other things that might be the other activities out here, but I can see a lot of the kids around here, and I think if you go to a lot of the kids, they're not paying so much attention to the game, but it's just an outlet for them, someplace where they can come and have a good time.
And in some cities,
and talk to these players.
You talked about those things that people come. There's a lot of business that, just like they talk about business on the golf course, in the stadium, there's deals that are done all the time.
So you've got your business networks taking place out here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
What's your take on this conversation?
I just know that I love baseball, and that's why I'm here. I do. It makes everyone else love it, too.
Are you Duluth native?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great. So Dave didn't hire a carpetbagger. He got a native here, and that's part of the Duke spirit,
Where did you go to high school, Don?
I went to Proctor.
Sorry to hear that, but that's
She's a rail.
she's a rail. So Oh, okay. Now we're expecting Adam Ellert?
Yes, Adam Ellert.
Okay. How much time we got here, Kenny?
We've got just a little bit of time, but we're going to have to, if Adam's going to fit in here, we're going to have to ask Dave to leave or something.
I gotta go back to work.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Don.
Oh, thank you.
See you later. Well, he left me all alone here. to sit with Adam Ellert. Adam Ellert, the son of owner John Ellert, is going to join us. And, okay, and we'll talk Duke's talk from the perspective of Adam Ellert. Adam Ellert, welcome to the Average Guys.
Hey, Kenny.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
So I'm going to have you just move over here a little bit. Make sure that you're in the camera, view of the camera. Well, we were just talking to David Sacchetti and Don. And everything that the fans need are here tonight. We've got the ballpark. We've got the ball field. We've got the ball team. We've got the ball food, baseball food.
Good stuff, isn't it?
Everything's here.
And the weather.
And the weather. Why aren't the fans out, Adam? What? Just the short time you've been here, what do you think?
I've been hearing there's a lot of competition for the entertainment dollar, which is unfortunate, particularly on the weekends. Everybody seems to go to the lake, go to their cabin, which is fine. And people have Little League, people have family picnics, people have to work some nights. That makes perfect sense, but those distractions happen in every other city. So I don't have the answer.
Well, I was going to say, you got Little League, and you got what the season's over, and you got cabins and that, but when I still drive down here, I see 100 cars, passing along the way, so there are still people in town. I mean, so that only goes so far. Kenny?
Well, it's hard to really point a finger at one particular thing. I've said this before in previous shows. It takes an effort sometimes to get to break away from maybe the routine and make it out to Wade Stadium. If it seems like an effort, go ahead and make that effort. Break through and get out here. I think that once you get out here, I think a lot of people can admit that, once you get out here, you do have a good time, especially if you're with the family and the kids.
That's our theory, exactly, and the market's just been a tough shell to crack, and our theory is exactly as you said, Kenny. Come out once, you'll have a good time. All of the ingredients for a pleasant, fun, wholesome family evening are here.
Yep. Well, I know a lot of people say, put a winner on the field and we'll come out. And there's some truth to that. There certainly is. But then again, you can look back to last year and even 97 where we had the, championship run, the championship seasons. And, the crowds were probably better then than they are this year. I don't know. How would you address that? Put a better team on the field.
That's part of the equation, absolutely. A little-known fact, though, is after last year, obviously this year attendance has dropped. Mm-hmm. And we won last year. We had a good team last year. Same thing happened after 97. We had a good team then. The following year, attendance dropped. We'll take some of the blame for that this year. Obviously, with all of the change, we've dropped the ball on a couple of things. I'll admit that. That being said, we're making the effort. We think we're doing the legwork. We're getting out there. We're trying to spread the word. You guys are helping tremendously.
Well, I thought it was a really neat talking to your dad. Again, your dad being John Ellert, owner of this team, and how he mentioned that he has been a fan of the Northern League since the age of 9. And I would hope that a lot of people would see that and hear that and listen and realize that he's more than just the owner of this team. He's a fan of this league.
He is. This is really a dream for us to be able to take this as a business opportunity. I mean, this is fun. This is Americana. And if we can call this our day-to-day job, we're in heaven. But we've got a lot of work to do to make it successful and to continue to put a better product out here for the citizens of Duluth.
What type of improvements have the Dukes thought maybe might be top priorities out here at Wade Stadium?
As far as the stadium itself, I don't really want to speculate on that. I don't think that's the issue.
Okay.
I think Wade Stadium is just fine. I think it's got all sorts of character. It's a gorgeous stadium. A personal pet peeve, I think, for an improvement, a sign on the freeway.
Well, I've been telling Dave Sacchetti, I said, Dave, you can put a sign out on the freeway and have the sign say, this exit, Wade Stadium, and then maybe some other wording up there. and whether they exit at 40th or 27th, they can get to Wade Stadium. So yeah.
It's an easy stadium to find if you know where to look. And
the city of Duluth would help promote it.
that would help tremendously. But being new to the area, I remember driving around. I knew in theory where the stadium was, but no signage anywhere.
It's a challenge.
And I've heard it echoed time and again with friends from the cities who've come up for the weekend, come up to see a game. We knew in theory where the stadium was. We just couldn't find it. So a little pet peeve, but I think one that might make a difference.
Well, I think we're real close to being out of time here. We can't run over an hour.
Okay.
We're over an hour? Okay. Adam, thanks for your time.
Kenny, appreciate you guys coming out. Enjoy the game.
5-4. Dukes have the lead.